just may be possible that you and I place importance on things that Yah says that's not important. But then on the things that he says, now this is important, we shrug our shoulders and say, I don't get it. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 2-Minute Torah, the final day, our thoughts about Sukkot. The sun has gone down. Tomorrow morning we will be leaving early and driving about 3.5 hours to our destination in the beautiful mountains of Virginia. The trees are just beginning to change. There's various festivals for harvest time and apples and just a variety of things available to look at and to enjoy the creation that the Father has given to us. This is important. Now, Sukkot is not important because of the scenery. The scenery helps. It's inviting. It's encouraging. And it's something to enjoy with His presence. But Sukkot is about community, as we've already discussed. It's about spending time with our King. It's about enjoying the aspects as they appear, about living in the kingdom. There is a particular scripture that it's a little on the strange side pertaining to Sukkot, and it's found in the book of Zechariah in chapter number 14. And there's an interesting prelude to this. Verse number 9, Zechariah chapter 14, verse 9. And Yahweh shall be sovereign over all of the earth. In that day there shall be one Yud-He-Vav-He, and his name one, or Echad. It has often been stated, and this is what we were trained to believe, that the gospel is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is the story of the birth, the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Yeshua, which is of utmost importance. It's an extremely important matter to understand, to know, and to study. But Yeshua empowered his disciples to go and to preach the news of the kingdom, the Besorah, the gospel, prior to his death, burial, and resurrection. Matter of fact, when he died, they were distraught, upset, and didn't understand the scriptures that he had to die. When he was resurrected, then he helped them to understand how that the scriptures had been played out and fulfilled. They were still asking, are you going to restore the kingdom to us at this time? In Acts chapter number 1, when he ascended from them, promising to return. The actual gospel message is Zechariah 14, verse 9. That is the restoration of all things. It is the unification of the name of Yud-He-Vav-He. It is the finalization of things. It is to bring together ultimately what Yah has desired all along. Sukkot is symbolic of that. It is a part of that. For we find, as we continue to read in this chapter, verse 16 and following, and it shall be that all who are left from all the nations which came up against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to bow themselves to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, and to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. Now, let's pause here for a moment. What it's saying to us then is that there is going to be some part of Him, revelation of Him, manifestation of Him perhaps, of Yud-He-Vav-He, Yahweh Zevaot, Yah of hosts, that the people of the nations on the earth will come to Jerusalem and bow before Him during the festival of Sukkot. That also says that there's going to be natural man in the kingdom, not just resurrected ones, but living natural men. Women and children will be born during the time of the kingdom. Sometimes we get a very fanciful, float in the sky, play harps, and eat grapes while we dangle our feet in the river of life mindsets about what is yet to come. But we're going to be a part of a working community. There's going to be an interesting dichotomy in those days of those who have a resurrected body and are resurrected ones, as opposed to those, or in comparison, that's a better way to say it, in comparison to those that will be yet natural men. From among those nations of natural men, they will be subservient to the sovereign Yeshua. They will bow before him and they will serve him, as will we all. Continuing, and it shall be that if any one of the clans of the earth does not come up to Jerusalem to bow himself to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, on them there is to be no rain. A couple of things to think about here. One is it mentions the clans of the earth. It doesn't mention necessarily the Europeans or the North Americans or the South Americans, the Asians by any means. It says the clans. So there are going to be identifiable groups of some sort. Will we return to a more biblical, Torah-oriented definition and identification of who we are in those days? Maybe so. That's something to think about. Maybe that's a question for one of your Midrash sessions during Sukkot. Then it says that if we fail to come up, that there will be no rain on our land. There is a need then for rain. To me, it kind of suggests strongly that we will be involved in an agricultural society. It doesn't mean that that's absolute, but it kind of trends that way in my mind. But it's also signifying to us that those days will be supernatural in their orientation, perhaps a bit more realistically so than what we see here and now. They already are. We just failed to recognize it. But there will be a direct correlation between our response to the word and what happens to us in the way of prosperity, favor, and blessing. Now, that is still true even today, but in that day, it may be even more dramatically revealed. And then finally it says, and if the clan of Mitzrayim does not come up and enter in, there is to be no rain on them, is the plague with which Yahweh plagues the nations who do not come up to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. This is the punishment of Mitzrayim and the punishment of all the nations that do not come up to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. It just seems to me that Yah is going to take this particular feast day extremely seriously. That he is going to judge nations favorably or unfavorably by their willingness to make the trip and to come to Sukkot. That also says that Sukkot is going to be a very, very busy and crowded experience. Can you imagine all of the earth coming to the city of the King? Finally, in this last minute and 15, 20 seconds here, I want to share something personal with you. My sister Leanne encouraged me to start 10-minute Torahs about this time last year. And I took her advice. I began to think about how I could do this, and we've experimented a bit over the year. At this point, we're just shy of 200 subscribers, and generally during the week, there's somewhere between 50 and to 100 views on each video. I just want to tell you that I'm overwhelmed at your response. I am so appreciative of those that get up evidently very early in the morning and perhaps over your morning coffee or beverage and breakfast, you're watching this. Thank you for your attention, for your very kind comments, your interesting comments on the subject matters. For those who have chosen to support, and if you choose to, you can go to Remnant of Israel, YISRAEL, remnantofisrael.com, and click the donate button. That's very much appreciated, but that's not why I do this. This is my service to the body of Messiah. I love you, and I love serving you. And it's my prayer as we continue in the next year that we can broaden our scopes, learn a little bit more, and build some powerful relationships. Come, Messiah. Even so, Messiah Yeshua, come quickly. Hag Sameach, enjoy your Sukkot. I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Shalom.